You know, we hear all the time that AI is changing the world, but what's the real cost? And what if I told you that your own computer is the one footing the bill? Today, we're diving into the pretty frustrating story of how Microsoft's massive bet on AI might just be killing its flagship operating system, Windows 11.
I mean, it all started with this big, shiny promise, right? When Windows 11 was first announced, the vision was clear: a sleeker, smarter, more helpful PC. It was supposed to be a real partner in getting your work done. But for millions of people, that is just not the reality. Instead of feeling helpful, the whole experience has become a struggle. And so many of us are asking the same exact question: why does my computer suddenly feel like it's fighting me instead of helping me?
So what is really going on here? Well, the answer isn't some simple bug. Oh no, it's a fundamental shift in philosophy. It's kind of an AI takeover happening at the very core of Windows. So let's unpack exactly what that means.
This brings us to our first point, and it really gets to the heart of the problem. There's this massive disconnect between Microsoft's vision for a smarter Windows and the reality, which for a lot of people is just being angrier users.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The relentless push for AI innovation is having real, tangible, and honestly, pretty negative consequences for the devices we all rely on every single day.
Okay, so how did we even get here? It all comes down to an AI takeover, and it was all kicked off by one single event that sent shockwaves through the entire tech industry: the launch of ChatGPT. Microsoft saw that and decided there was no way they were getting left behind. Now, this isn't Microsoft's first attempt at an assistant. We all remember Clippy, right? The ultimate intrusive punchline. Then we got Cortana, which was a more modern but still separate chatbot, but Copilot, which launched in late 2023, that is something else entirely. It's deeply and inescapably woven into the very fabric of the operating system. And that is the absolute core difference. Clippy was annoying for sure, but you could ignore it. You could just close the pop-up. It was an app. Copilot isn't an app you can just close. It's a fundamental layer of the OS itself. It is always there, always running, whether you want it to be or not.
And this leads us directly to the next huge part of the problem: the unwanted upgrade. Microsoft isn't just offering this AI-first world, they're basically forcing users into it by ending support for the much-loved Windows 10 in 2025.
And this whole forced march started with a massive barrier to entry. When Windows 11 first launched, its system requirements were so high that an estimated 60% of existing PCs couldn't even run it. Think about that for a second. A majority of their loyal user base was instantly told their hardware just wasn't good enough.
This quote captures that feeling perfectly. For so many, it didn't feel like a choice. It felt like a forced migration. The upgrade wasn't just about software. It was about pushing users to buy new hardware to fit Microsoft's new AI-first vision.
So, this forced push into a new, incredibly complex AI-layered OS had, well, predictable and disastrous consequences. This is where smarter somehow started to mean slower, buggier, and a whole lot less stable for the person actually using the computer.
Let's take a key group of power users, gamers. They notice everything, and they quickly found that their games ran up to 10% slower on the new OS. Now, in the world of competitive gaming, where every millisecond counts, that is completely unacceptable. It was a huge red flag for the operating system.
And then things really came to a head in January 2026. Microsoft pushed out an update meant to fix existing problems. Instead, it created an absolute catastrophe, introducing system-breaking errors that made Windows nearly unusable. It was so bad they had to rush out emergency patches just 2 days later. And we are not talking about minor annoyances here. Just look at this list. People couldn't even sign in. Their PCs wouldn't shut down. Critical software like Outlook was completely locked out. Even the most basic tool, the Task Manager, was breaking and freezing computers. That's not a bad update. That's a computer you just can't rely on anymore.
As bad as all the technical glitches are, they're pointing to a much, much deeper problem. The real cost here isn't performance, it's trust. And sometimes, the scariest things aren't the bugs you can see, but the warnings that are hidden away in the fine print. Novel security risks was buried deep in Microsoft's own documentation. I mean, when the company that makes your OS starts warning you about new, unknown threats coming from its own features, your trust just evaporates. The helper starts to look a lot more like a threat. And features like this one, Copilot Vision, only make that anxiety worse.
It's an AI that can literally see and analyze everything that's on your screen. So, to many, this felt less like a helpful tool and more like Big Brother was watching over their shoulder.
So what's the result of all of this? The irony is just staggering. After this massive company-wide push to integrate AI into literally everything, what became the single most requested feature from users? The ability to turn it all off. That is a complete and total disconnect.
And this leads us to the final and maybe most critical point. This isn't just about one bad product launch. The very foundation of Microsoft's entire empire is starting to show cracks, because the Windows ecosystem itself is becoming a liability.
Look at this ripple effect across every major user group. Consumers are waiting, businesses are delaying, IT departments, the gatekeepers of the corporate world, are pushing back. And the power users, the gamers, are actively downgrading back to Windows 10. That's a full-scale revolt.
And here's the bottom line. Windows isn't just another product. It is the sun around which Microsoft's entire solar system of software and services revolves. If people lose trust in the operating system, that center cannot hold, and the whole ecosystem is put at risk.
Which leaves us with one final, sobering question. After all the AI hype, the forced upgrades, and the system-breaking bugs, we have to remember what people wanted in the first place. They just wanted a reliable computer that would let them get their work done. So, in its race to build the smartest PC, has Microsoft forgotten how to build a dependable one?